Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to Signals and Standards with Suzie, the show where we decode mixed messages, raise the bar, and serve up real talk with a side of empowerment. I'm your host, Suzie, your go-to for truth bombs, clarity, and the kind of tough love that gets you unstuck and back in the driver's seat of your life. Together, let's turn those signals into action. Welcome to Signals and Standards with Suzie. I can't even tell you how excited I am to bring this space to life. Finally. If you're tuning in right now, know this. You're part of the beginning of something I hope will not just inform you, but transform you. This podcast is where we get real about relationships, about self-worth, about all those confusing signals people send us, and most importantly, about the standards we set for our lives. Because here's the truth. If you don't set the standard, someone else will. Since this is our very first chat together, I wanted you to get to know me a little bit. My name is Suzie. I'm an empowerment coach, speaker, writer, and communication specialist. I've spent more than 2 decades studying and teaching about human interaction, interpersonal communication, and what really makes relationships work. Not just romantic ones, but friendships, family dynamics, and even workplace relationships. I've also been a dating blogger and coach, working closely with singles from all over the world to help them navigate the confusing, messy, and sometimes painful world of dating. My insights have been featured on TV, radio, and online platforms, and I've helped countless people gain clarity, confidence, and the tools to step into relationships and lives that actually feel good. But here's the thing. I'm not just speaking from textbooks or training. I've lived this. I've had my share of heartbreaks, mixed signals, situationships, being used and abused, friendships that faded, people that ghosted, dates that never showed up, people misrepresenting themselves, jobs that drained me, and times where I lowered my standards to keep the peace or maybe even not to be alone. And every single time I did that, I paid the price. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Maybe you've been there too. Perhaps you're there right now, settling, wondering why someone's actions don't line up with their words, feeling like you're pouring out more than you're getting back, questioning yourself, feeling stuck, or thinking you have bad luck, feeling drained maybe, or even frustrated, maybe even trapped in a hole you can't dig yourself out of. I know. I've been there. I really have. And that's exactly why I started this podcast, to give you a ladder, a helping hand, and the tools to rise back to the surface. You've got this, and I've got you, friend. Together, we're going to decode the mixed signals, set healthy boundaries, and step into the kind of relationships and life that feel aligned, energizing, and truly empowering. This is exactly why I created this podcast, because I know firsthand that when you raise your standards and learn to read the signals, everything in your life begins to shift. What I share here comes from my own truth and the lessons I've learned along the way. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This isn't meant to replace a therapist or any other professional support. It's here to give you food for thought, reflections, and practical insights. And even if one thing you hear helps you move closer to living your best life, then I know I've done my best job. So what's Signals and Standards all about? It's about helping you decode the signals people send you. The subtle shifts, the hot and cold behavior, the I'm interested but not really energy, and then helping you measure them against the standards that you've set for yourself. Because signals without standards, they leave you confused. But signals held up against strong standards, look out world, that's where clarity comes in. And not to mention empowerment. Here's how the podcast will flow each week. I'll kick things off with a core topic, maybe something about interpersonal dynamics, relationship psychology, or navigating the messy parts of life. We'll break down the psychology and real life experience behind it. And then this part I love, I'll answer some listener questions. I'll also share practical tools you can use right away with some coaching. We'll wrap it up with a takeaway challenge and affirmation to keep you moving forward for the rest of the week. Now you might be wondering, okay, Suzie, who cares? Why does this even really matter? What's in it for me? Because every single day you are sending and receiving signals. At work, when your boss emails you at midnight. In relationships, when someone takes 2 days to reply to a text. With friends, when you're always the one reaching out and they never do. Signals are everywhere. But without standards, you'll find yourself second-guessing, over-explaining, or, let's be real, settling. And settling is expensive. It costs you your peace. It costs you your energy. It costs you opportunities that would have been better aligned if you just held out for them. That's why this podcast matters, because raising your standards isn't about being picky. It's about being clear, and clarity is freedom. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one simple thought. Your standards are not walls. They're boundaries. They're not about keeping people out. They're about keeping your peace in. Boundaries aren't meant to isolate you or shut people out. They're meant to protect your energy and create a circle that's healthy, supportive, and safe for you. When you honor your standards, you naturally attract the people who respect them. And you create space for relationships that add to your peace, not take it away. So that's it for this introduction to Singles and Standards with Suzie. I hope you enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about me, my journey, and the mission behind this podcast. Here we'll dive into real talk, decode the signals people send, and explore ways to raise your standards while staying true to yourself. I'm excited to continue this conversation with you and help you show up clearer, stronger, and more empowered in every area of your life. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of this moment. If something in this podcast speaks to you, make sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs that nudge to raise their own standards. Every week as a subscriber, you get signals and standards delivered straight to you. Clarity, insights, and empowerment included. And remember, the signals are always there, but it's your standards that set the tone. I'm Suzie, and until next time, stay strong, stay clear, and always, always stay true to you. For daily inspiration and practical advice, find me on social media at Power Coach Suzie. Got questions or ideas for the show? Head to powercoachsuzie.com where you can connect with me, explore the blog, or learn more about what I do. This is Suzie signing off. Until next time, keep reading the signals and never, ever lower your standards.